Hey everybody, good morning and welcome to Tightline Fishing TV. We're glad you're with us this week. I'm really excited about this day. I've never fished here before. We're in Beaufort, South Carolina with Captain Tim. Excited to be here. How about tell us a little bit about what we're going to do today?
Today I've got some different baits. I've got some live shrimp. I was able to secure some yesterday. Mud minnows. We're going to be throwing some plastics.
Okay.
We're going to be fishing some shallow water. Basically the shallow water about halfway through the incoming.
Okay.
So, and I came out and poked around a little bit yesterday and was able to find a few fish, and hopefully they're still around.
And we're fishing for?
We're going to fish for redfish and sea trout. We just had a big drop in temperatures. Our water right now just went from a really nice fall temperature to 55.
Oh wow.
So I think it did kind of made the fish want to move a little bit. So it's just a matter of finding them.
Awesome.
And we'll get something on the lines. We'll get tight.
Good, good, good. Hey, thank y'all for being with us today. Stay with us. The first place we stopped was a really cool place. It's where a river channel came in and swung really close to a bank, kind of a mud bar. And the current was coming behind these rock and oyster bars, and there were current breaks there, which would typically be where the fish would hang out waiting for bait to come around, and they would ambush that bait.
All right, we're fishing this this oyster bank basically from here down to this sign. We're doing a little bit of a rotating throughout the boat about 3 feet off the bank. We're using live shrimp. I've got a mud minnow, so we're trying some different baits. We're right here at the bottom of the outgoing tide, so we should get bit and turned on here pretty soon.
And explain to us what we're using here.
This is just your standard pop and cork rig with the fluorocarbon leader and a live shrimp. Hooked right through the last segment of the tail. It seems to be the hardest and the most firm place to put a hook for a natural presentation as a shrimp were to escape its prey backwards.
Okay, and what kind of size circle hook are you using?
That's a number 2 Kale.
Number 2 Kale.
Number 2 Kale. It's real simple with the loop knot. That's going to give the bait the best chance it can to move, and presentation is key.
Okay. I forgot to mention also earlier, Kenny's with us again today. He was with us in the Keys and we had a great trip, so we're hoping he's going to bring us some good luck today. The next place Captain Tim took us was this little no-name creek, and it was really cool. It was almost like bass fishing. We went way up this creek, and typically this time of year, that's what redfish will do. We're fishing in the late fall, and these redfish will migrate up the creeks to chase bait or just to go up the creeks because of water temperature. And we started fishing for nice redfish. Down in the tree. That's my bad.
All right, we'll get there. We'll get there.
I got it. I got it all. I got a fish.
Nice.
Nice redfish.
Fish on.
So what we've done, Captain Tim brought us up this creek, and we got in some timber, and we saw some redfish, spooked a few, and had me in the tree to start with. He came out of it. See if we can put him in the boat. There we go. Yes, sir. Good job, brother. I appreciate that. So we're up in this kind of creek, and that's what you call a bull red, right?
That is not really.
Not
they consider
really?
the bull red to be, you know, over like 40 inches.
Oh, okay. So what would you call this one?
It's just that's an overslot fish. That's probably 26 inches.
Okay.
Here's a boga grip. That'll help you.
Thanks, sir.
Here, I got some
Yeah.
tool. Wow, that's a nice
That's
fish.
beautiful, man. I appreciate you. He brought us into this little kind of no-name creek. Said he found these fish in here yesterday. We're actually in Paris Island on the Marine base. If you hear some kind of crazy sounds, they're doing maneuvers in there, but man, that was fun. And I was just throwing a little artificial, what is it?
It's a gulp new
shrimp.
penny shrimp, 3-inch,
Yeah.
on a free line. No split shot, just the bare hook.
And all I did was threw it over the tree, and apparently this fish was right around that tree, and he came up and ate it. So.
I was just actually hung up on the bottom. If I get hung up on the bottom, and I always check the hook, I can tell it's bent over a little bit, and that will prevent a hookup for sure. It's just no sense in even taking a chance. So I want to show you this hook that we've been using today, and for all intents and purposes, this is nothing but a bowline. So I'm going to tie what you might call an overhand knot to start out with. We're going to go through the eye of the hook. All we're going to do is go through the knot, and we're on the back side of the standing part of the line. I'm going to go back through that hole and just pinch that line and pull it tight. That's going to come down on that knot, and it's secure. It will not slide back down on the hook, and I'll be happy to show that to you again. But this is a good knot. It allows, anytime you don't have that hook fastened directly to the line as far as cinched down tight, it's going to move a lot better, especially if you're using live bait or a lot of your artificials. It's going to work a lot better as well.
Well, what do you call that knot, Tim?
It'd be an end loop knot.
End loop knot. So we're in this creek, and that time I just blind casted up to the
Where's that? In the middle of the creek?
front of it. Oh, that may be a trout. Is that a trout? That is a trout. Anyway, I'm just blind casting up to the middle of this creek, and we caught a nice redfish earlier, and I think I got a trout this time.
Yeah, that's a nice trout. Let me see if we can get him in here before we lose that bait. These will.
Now, tell everybody, Camp Tim, for those of us that don't saltwater fish a lot, that's a speckled trout, right?
Well, actually, it's a spotted sea trout.
Okay.
So everybody calls it a speckled trout or speck, but it's a spotted sea trout. They had a really rough winter last year, but that's a beautiful fish. There you go.
And what would be the slot limit on these?
There is no slot. That's a 14-inch.
Okay.
It need to be over 14. So that's probably right there. That might be a 15-inch sea trout.
Okay.
But usually you're going to get a whole lot of those when you get into them.
Yeah. And they'll come up in these creeks also?
Yeah.
Or is it okay? Awesome. Well, thank you.
Good job. Good job, Royce.
Let him go swim again. There you go, buddy. Take off. He thumped it pretty good. And then the little bait we're using is just an artificial shrimp. It's a gulp.
Fish on. Fish on.
Kenny's on.
Kenny got him one back there. Keeping you busy, aren't we? What you got, Kenny?
I think I got a red.
Go ahead, Royce. Here you go.
He's staying over here. Throwing the artificial gulp.
This is a slot fish here, right here.
There you go.
Oh, no, that's not sliding.
Good job, brother. Look at that.
Wow, nice job.
Man, that's a big
Another
fish.
big one. Here, I'll get you your boga grip.
We're throwing the artificial out and threw right out by the log there, and it fell off, and he picked it up right as it went off. They seem to like hanging around these logs.
Yeah.
Fun fish.
What's amazing is how shallow we are and how shallow these fish are. This size of fish, that amazes me. Why are these fish in here? They following bait?
I think there's more bait in here, and also they're more protected back in here.
Okay.
Nice fish.
Nice.
Beautiful redfish.
Good job.
Hey,
brother.
measure him just so that everybody knows kind of what kind of fish that is down on the green tape.
Right here.
Yeah.
What you got there, Royce?
Yes. 24.5 inches.
24 and a half.
24.5. And the slot to keep is what?
15 to 23.
Oh.
But that's a healthy fish right
yeah,
there.
he's beautiful.
Low country redfish. Hey, this guy just appeared. Kenny did.
We got him off the bank at Paris Island. So Tim, redfishing's relatively new to me. It's a lot of fun. But what kinds of things are you looking for when you're looking for redfish, structure and bait and stuff like that? Kind of give us a little bit of a clue if you're coming to do this for first time or whatever, what you're looking for.
Yeah, that's a good question. The redfish, obviously, they need structure just like any fish. They need to have protection,
Okay.
a food source, and part of their protection can be a shallow flat adjacent to a creek. This is all shallow water in here where we're at now.
Okay.
These fish are just spread out, but you're looking for structure. The time that you're fishing depends on the tide or actually your method. So what happens is when that water reaches up into the grass, those fish are gonna push up in there.
Okay.
Sometimes they're out of way. They're oyster bars, like we've worked oyster bars today.
Okay.
That the creek where we fished this morning, we had the trees of structure. But yeah, they're gonna look for that. A lot of times you can see the fish. You just need to go travel in an area where you feel that they have the right kind of structure.
Yeah.
Clean water is important too. You're not always going to have clean water. A lot of times, depending upon the tides or the wind,
Right.
you're going to have a problem with that. Docks are another good structure to fish.
Okay. And we're throwing live bait like shrimp and minnows, and then we're also throwing artificial, so you can catch them on all three.
We did a little bit of everything today. Actually, the artificials did better for us today than the live bait.
They sure did.
We were throwing shrimp and mud minnows and the Berkeley Gold. That is a new penny shrimp, 3-inch. Just has a really nice slow sink to it. The fish are usually going to attack that on its way down on the fall.
Yeah.
But you can work it really slow. And it works really nice when the water's colder because these fish are slowing down anyway.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I did set the hook on. I got one. I think I got another trout, don't I?
Sea
Tim?
trout, yeah.
You're calling it a sea trout. A lot of people call them.
You want to get him in here real quick before he loses that bait.
Okay. There we go. And what did you call him? A spotted sea trout.
A spotted sea trout.
And they have to be 14 inches. So he'd be a tad shy, wouldn't he, or would he? He'd
He's
be
shy.
close.
That's a throwback.
But they're real pretty. You wouldn't want to lip them. They got a couple little fangs right there. But they're beautiful fish. Apparently they like to eat shrimp, huh?
They love it. That's their primary diet.
Fish on.
That and small fish.
Kenny had one, he came off.
God, we got one in the back.
He came off.
Lost him.
We've moved out of the creek the bite just kind of turned off in there. Some of that fishing area has gotten tangled up with excessive amounts of Spartina grass that had floated up into those trees at that during our last high tide. We're at a creek mouth right now fishing with live bait. We're throwing mud minnow, which is a very nice bait. That's your loop knot. That fish can swim around really nice with that knot. So we're hoping to pick up some sea trout out here and redfish. So we've just gotten started, so we're gonna work this, try to cover the whole area before we make another move.
And Tim, this cork we're using, it's like a popping cork. Does it kind of draw their attention to the bait? Is that what the popping?
Yeah, that cork, when you work that cork, they got many different kinds of corks, some with beads, some without. This just has the chugging conical end. That's going to draw the fish in. They're going to want to see what that is. Obviously it sounds like, bait fish, something working on the surface. Then they're going to see what you got down there, what you have presented, and 8 times out of 10, people won't be catching any fish. I'll tell them to work that cork. As soon as they do, it's down. We've worked this spot pretty hard. We've covered everything. We've been fishing and not any one particular spot. So, we don't like to waste a whole lot of time if the fish are just not there. We're gonna go ahead and try to find something else that's gonna happen for us. Okay. Does that sound good?
And what was unique about here, there's a creek coming in, right? And it's flats all around.
Well, there's flats on either side, and you've got a trough that we're usually holding bait right inside this trough, and it's this particular area, it's either good or it's not.
And today
it's either on, you're gonna know.
Yeah.
So instead of wasting any more time, let's go ahead and get everything secured, get out of here.
Sounds good. Really had a blast today fishing with Captain Tim, and we fished a lot of different kinds of water. We started out in a river, then we went in a little tiny creek, then we fished some open water. But when we started the day, clearly Captain Tim had a plan. He said, we're going to go do this, 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 and this, and he laid out the plan and we did it. But as the day went on, we caught a few fish, but the fish didn't really seem to be cooperating. And so toward the end of the day, Captain Tim says, look, we're going to kind of go looking for some new water. And at the end of the day, when we found these fish sight fishing in these flats, it was because we went looking for new water. And really, if you think about it, it's because things didn't go according to plan the first part of the day, that the end of the day turned out really good. And I've had lots and lots of days like that on the water, when you start out with a game plan and you end up about the 5th or 6th thing you try works. I had a tournament one time on Lake West Point, and it was a really foggy morning, and we started out to our spot. We had practice for a tournament, and we got to our spot. There was a boat sitting right on our spot. But because it was foggy, we just went right down to the next point. And my partner that day caught the largest bass anybody had ever caught on our particular trail of Fishers of Men. It was an 8.5-pound largemouth. So something bad turned into something good. And a lot of times that happens in tournament days. Now, some days it starts out bad and never gets any better. But what I want to encourage you guys in today is that if you know the Lord and you love Christ, then everything in your life, whether it's good or bad, works for your good. And the Bible tells us that in Romans chapter 8, verse 28, it says this, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. So if you love the Lord and you have Him in your heart and you're seeking Him, even when things are tough, even when things are bad, God is using those things in your life to work for good in your life. We were on a mission trip one time in Peru on the Amazon River. It was the very first time we'd ever gone. We were supposed to go camp in this village, and we actually got lost on the river after dark, which is kind of a scary thing to be lost on the Amazon River. And so we stopped at a village, went into the village leader and asked permission if we could sleep there that night until we could find our way the next day. Well, what we thought was bad turned out really good, because this particular village allowed us to come in, allowed us to start a church, and a lot of people came to know Christ because of what we thought was bad that particular night. So my encouragement to you is, no matter what you're going through, if you have the Lord in your heart, He's working all things in your life for the good of those who are called according to His purposes. Now maybe in your life you don't have that hope or that peace because you don't know Jesus Christ and you don't have Him in your heart. The simple way to do that is to ask Him to forgive you of your sins and ask Him to come and live in your heart and be Lord of your life. Hey, thanks so much for listening today. And remember, when things are tough, God can use even those things to work good in your life. Hey guys, what we do at Go Fish Ministries is share the gospel and encourage believers in their walk with Christ. We do this through a variety of events such as wild game dinners, kids camps, men's events, music events, or even if you or someone you know just needs a day on the water. Go Fish Ministries wants to point you toward Jesus and help you know Him better. Contact us through our website. We'd love to serve you any way we can. God bless you and go fish. Tim, tell me a little bit about how you got into doing this and how long have you been doing it?
Well, we started this in 2005, and it was, it was a career change that I had really looked forward to. I enjoyed doing it. We've got a lot of return guests. Probably we're running close to 50% on our return clients.
That's awesome.
Which is a really good thing. So, that tells you something. This is a wonderful place to fish in the Beaufort, South Carolina area. We're blessed with a wonderful estuary, moderate temperatures. We can fish year round. We offer a really good product, great boat and equipment.
Well, tell people mostly, like, what do you fish for? The majority of what you do is what?
Primarily, we fish inshore. Okay, for all your inshore species, primarily your redfish, trout, and flounder. Okay. During the summer months, you have, a plethora of other migratory fish that come in. That'd be your shark and your bluefish, your Spanish, cobia, jack crevalle, a whole slew of fish. In the summertime, it's always something to do. You can change it up however you want. During your winter months, you're kind of redfish or your, that's it. Redfish and trout.
Well, the beauty of what he does too, if you're thinking about coming down here, is if you've saltwater fished and gone out offshore and it's a long way out and it's really rough water, typically when you're here,
you can find
it's a smooth ride, and it's not a lot of running. Even when you run, it's not bad.
For the most part, you can get out of the wind.
Yeah.
Somewhere you're going to be able to do that. But you're right, you can fish pretty much year round, and unlike offshore, you're going to have those days where you just can't get out there. So that's one other good thing that we can do, is we can get you on the fish.
That's awesome.
On almost any day.
Well, and what you can't predict is when you have a 20-degree drop in water temperature like we've had here and that kind of stuff. We had
a really quick drop in our temperature. It was probably your regular fall temps, right there at 65, and it dropped over 10 degrees just in a matter of 2 days, 3 days.
And then really cold air temps too. We fished several different ways throughout the day, but at the end of the day, when things got warm and the sun got high, we ended up actually sight fishing for redfish in the back of some cuts and pockets, and it was a really cool way to fish. We're looking for some. They actually spook really, really easily when you get in this shallow water, 2 to 3 foot of water. But Captain Tim put me on a really nice one, and I pitched right to him. So what we're doing, you can look around and see we're in this real shallow grass, and basically we're sight fishing. We're looking for fish The biggest problem is the wind's blowing us in here. We're kind of getting on top of them before we can make a cast. We've seen several fish. I just made a real good cast at one and he just spooked away from it. So hopefully one of these we see pretty soon we'll pick it up. Oh, that's a good one too, man. That was fun. So we came way back into this shallow stuff and we just couldn't find any fish. And Captain Tim spotted this one for me. And it's a really good one. I got him.
Hey,
He's
that
coming
might
up.
be dinner.
He's coming up. Here he comes. Here he comes. Right there, right there, right there, right there. And Captain Tim saw him and I just dropped that thing right on him.
Another big one.
And that is another nice one.
So that was, we just caught that through sight.
That was very cool.
A lot of guys will not see it.
Yeah, they're hard to see. Awesome. So it's been a real tough day and we got back into this shallow water and saw a couple of fish where we were. And Captain Tim talked about how clear and pretty this water was, and we stayed at it and stayed at it, and it's kind of a lesson. You know, we don't have much longer today.
Never give up.
That's right, never give up.
But you can, if you look hard enough, good glasses, sunglasses are a must.
Yep.
But that fish, fortunately, he was able to see it as well. And through that bait, that Berkeley gulp, it just sinks right in front of him. And I saw him eat it.
Yep.
I said, he ate it.
Yep.
And it was boom.
And then today, and the cool part about today is normally live bait is you outfish as artificials twice as much, but today the artificial has outfished the live bait, and you just don't ever know. So
yeah, let's
been an awesome
get
day.
a measurement on that fish and see what we got.
All right. Hey everybody, thanks so much for being with us today. We had a great day fishing with Captain Tim. It was actually kind of tough conditions. The water temperature had dropped a bunch overnight, but we actually did catch some nice redfish, some trout also. So I just want to say thanks for taking us out today, and thanks Kenny for being with us again today.
Thanks for having me. Enjoyed fishing with you again.
Kenny, it's great to have you.
Absolutely.
Listen, y'all, if you would like to reach me, you can reach us on the web at www.beaufortcastawaycharter.com. Pick up the phone. You're going to speak to a live person. Love to have you. Come down to the low country.
Awesome. Hey, thanks so much for joining us, and join us next time. We had a great day with Captain Tim of Castaway Charters. If you're ever in the Beaufort, South Carolina area or anywhere close by, you should look him up and book him for a guide trip. Man, he does a great job, and you can catch some of these really nice redfish and trout. It's a beautiful place to go to. If you've never been to Beaufort, there's all kind of great places to eat, really historic town. I also want to thank Kenny for being with us today. It's always a great time fishing with him, and he let us stay in his place down there. We just had a blast fishing. Thanks so much for being with us this week, and join us next time.